Well, my first information about the spill came at 7 o'clock in the morning on March 24th. It was a phone call from the O'Learys, and they had been called by some friends of theirs in Seattle who had heard it on the news in Seattle. And they called me because of my role with the fishing industry here and the fishermen's organization, Cordova District Fishermen United. And my first reaction was, we've got a tanker on the rocks in Bly Reef, we've got a major oil spill. And I immediately started thinking about, how we could do, what could we do to help the oil industry deal with the problem. It's in the water, so it's going to take boats to work with it. Among our membership is a young lady, Riki, Dr. Riki, who knows a great deal about the oil in the marine environment. That's one of her majors. And the first thing I did then was to call our executive director of the organization, ask her to meet me at the union hall there, the offices, at 8 o'clock, and I proceeded to go find Riki.
The day of the spill, someone actually had to walk out to my cabin, which is 3 miles out of town, and there was this pounding on my door. And when I was told that there was Jack Lamb, he came up and said, "We've just had the big one." And we just sort of looked at each other, and first there was like this denial, no, that this really didn't happen. And then I just look at Jack, and he's just climbed 3 miles uphill to my cabin, and I thought there's no other reason Jack would be up here at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then there was I just got angry. We knew this was going to happen. We'd been telling people this was going to happen. No one's listened to us. And then I just started getting ideas. Well, okay, it's happened. What are we going to do? We got to, let's leap into action here. We got to get this mess cleaned up. So then Jack and I took off to town.
I think that probably the first thing that came to mind was that we wanted to help the oil companies, whoever it was, the best way we could. And I know that as I think about it now, from hindsight and time to give it, true consideration, recognizing that it was a major spill, we had been led to believe for so long that the oil companies could handle the problems, any problems like this that might come up. This is what we'd always been told, that I think that there was a lot of belief in it.
All right, go ahead.
All day that first day, we did everything we could to let the oil companies know that we were there to help, and were more than willing to help in any way we could. And for the next 2.5 days, we got no response back to our offers of help. And other than the fact that we did a lot of questioning as to whether or not they were doing anything at all, we were being ignored. They would try to, they would give us broad-based answers, but we had no voice in what was happening.
When Jack and I got into town, Cordova, Marilyn Leland, the executive director of Cordova District Fishermen United, was already on the phone, and she had already contacted about 30 fishing boats that were getting ready to go over and help. And what I did was I flew to Valdez right away and overflew the spill, and I was the first person from the fishing community in Valdez.
When we first heard about the oil spill and the tanker crash, I remember it pretty vividly. It was early in the morning, and there were people around town talking about it. It was more of a sort of a curiosity matter or a rumor matter. We were facing a limited amount of official information. As a matter of fact, we had difficulty accessing the Alyeska emergency number from our calls. There was a good deal of concern, but until people were actually able to get out there and look at it and see what was happening, the magnitude of it wasn't quite known by individuals. My first tip-off that it was a major event was when Mayor John Devens of Valdez phoned me. Having overflown it himself, he explained it was big. The next day, myself flying over it, there was oil everywhere as far as the eye could see, basically within the confines near that tanker. And there's probably not a single emotion known to man that an individual has not experienced through the past 6 months caused by this oil spill. everything from sadness through anger, but I guess the overriding feeling is one of determination to stay on top of these things and protect Cordova to the best we can.
I hope the 1990s into the year 2000 and beyond will look at the Prince William Sound oil spill as a real catalyst for really getting some specific action and resolving some of our global environmental crises that we're facing. One, the most obvious one with oil, is that we all use too much oil. And it's a finite resource on the scale that we use it in, and we simply won't have a better opportunity to limit the amount of oil that we use. And oil is a dirty thing. Both producing it, we lose wilderness. Using it, we pollute the atmosphere. Developing it, transporting it, we spill it. So there's all sorts of problems with oil. We know we have to wean ourselves from it. Our automobiles that we drive can be much more efficient. Our home appliances and heating systems can be much more efficient. We don't even need the Alaskan pipeline if we use the efficient technology that exists today. So what it amounts to is we have to give ourselves a kick in the seat of the pants to develop the political initiative to do these sorts of things. And I think policymakers are now sitting up and taking notice that there is a real groundswell of emotion and rational thought in the United States to reduce oil consumption. So hopefully this will galvanize a lot of public thought around that issue.